day three of how to start your own business from home, basically. And, you know, Adam, when you look back at some of the videos that you've done and some of the consumption that you've done as a student, what are like three things that you wish you would have known then that you know now?
Yeah, I think through the journey, I think first of all, I wish that I would have known that it was more possible than I thought. So I'd always considered myself kind of like a realist, a pragmatist, and I'm an optimist, but also I was like, yeah, I just didn't believe a lot of stuff. And I think a lot of that has to do with like previous bad experiences that I had with like sketchy marketing stuff back in like the early 2000s, looking at some of the Wild West before there was any kind of regulation and FTC crackdowns. And so I was skeptical of like anything, and that made me move a bit too slow. So I wish that I would have probably, I don't want to say don't be skeptical, like make sure to do your due diligence, but I wish that I'd have done proper due diligence and then been like, okay, cool, enough people are listening to this person or trusting this person or got, now I can actually follow, and it would have allowed me to accelerate a lot quicker. I think the second is understanding that like volume equals success. So much like, and there's basically no upper limit. So in a lot of things, it's like we're going to get diminishing returns. I don't know, we've been talking about running and fitness and things like that. Like you can only train so much before your body dies. But it's like with this kind of work, like you can work and put in more reps quicker. You're going to get the result faster. So if you want to go faster, you just do more. And the volume and the results scale pretty linearly for like a while because you got to get those reps in. I think those are the big ones. I think the third one is kind of committing to the process for a bit, and then tuning out everybody else that says like it can't be done or they have doubts in you. And a little bit of this is tough to say sometimes, but like this might mean cutting out, not forever, but for a while, certain friends and family members for a period of time, simply because it's not that they don't love you or support you or whatever. They just don't get it. And they've looked at other weird things and they may have tried themselves and not succeeded. And therefore they want to be cautious for you. So a big thing for me was sort of upgrading my, friend circle, really. It's like the old Jim Rohn quote, you become the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So it's like, if you look around your circle and everybody is not in the position that you want to be in, like you don't take advice from them. It's like, it's that expression of like, you don't take financial advice from broke people. You don't take fitness advice from overweight people. You don't take health advice from sick people. It's like, so if none of your friends and family have the financial position that you want to be in and are aspiring to, just be very cautious about like what you say and what you share with them as well. I had a buddy of mine, actually. It was funny. The first time I met him, he's like, yeah, my goal is to hit 100 million by 30 or whatever it is. And I went, oh yeah, okay, cool. We'll write it down and we'll figure it out. And he's like, everyone else I tell thinks I'm insane. And I was like, oh no, I mean, it's a big goal. I'm not going to lie. But I was like, but I know people that have done it. And so, okay, let's figure it out and how we're going to do this. And so it's like, that's the kind of environment that you want to be in. If you say your goal and everyone's like, that's ridiculous, you're just in the wrong group.
And our goal today is to get that client, to get that first client. And for those that are tuning in and that are popping in here, let us know where you're tuning in from and where are you at in your journey of setting up your high level, setting up your business, setting up your infrastructure, right? Let us know in the comments. Day 3, getting clients. We've been, rocking and rolling here for the last 2 days, and those replays are going to be going out if you're subscribed to the event. You know, would you be okay with just maybe giving us a quick overview of day 1, day 2, and how that leads into today, and then kick us off with the agenda?
Yeah, you betcha. So actually, let me pull up the slides then. That'll probably make it easier. And they'll and we can look at everything that we've done and everything we're about to head into today. I'm excited for today. Today's kind of the big tactical action day when we're going to do all of the things that we need to actually take all of the foundational knowledge and stuff we've been talking about and put it into practice and actually go out there and get clients and get paid and start turning this into a real legitimate business, one that you can be proud of. So day 1, we talked about why it's the perfect online business, why it's the opportunity of the decade, talked about the growth. We talked about how the model works. We talked about focusing on selling results in ROI rather than sort of the features and the Facebook ads and the SEO and all that other stuff that people don't really care about. And we talked about who you're selling to, what makes up the ideal client, all the things that go into that. We don't need to sell to everyone, but there's a lot of people available for us. Yesterday, we talked about offers that sell themselves. This one's really important because if we can structure things right, we don't have to do a lot of selling because the offer that we're putting in front of people is so desirable, it's so irresistible that people just say that they want it. And there's this magical thing that happens when we take a very desirable, relevant, valuable offer and we put it in front of somebody that actually needs it and wants it. So we talked about painkillers versus vitamins, why that's important, how you want to focus on the painkillers. We went super fast over minimum viable product because in my honest, biased, but accurate opinion, it's just not important what your website looks like, what your logo looks like, what all of this stuff does. So we've given you the templates, copy paste it, just use that, and let's move on. We should not be spending a lot of time on those things. Those are non-revenue generating activities. Talked about packaging and pricing, how to start, the benefits of actually offering free trials for people that are brand new to the space, because it makes it less risk for you, less risk for them, and it allows you to accumulate case studies and start getting clients right away, and then we can transition them into paying clients. How to put together the irresistible offer and what goes into it, how to make it relevant, how to make it desirable. We talked about formulas. We went over scripts and pitches and all kinds of stuff. So today, getting clients. We're going to take all this, we're going to put it together. Number one, building simple lead lists. So a lead list is fancy marketer talk for a list of names for people. That's really it. This is a contact list for potential prospects. One of the biggest, I don't want to say excuses, but one of the biggest objections that people have is like, I don't know who to reach and I don't know how to get a hold of them and I don't know where to find them and who are these people and where do I find them? So I'm going to give you a lot of places to go. Many of them are free and you're able to do them today from the comfort of your home or from your phone or from your car or wherever you are. There are leads and there are businesses everywhere, millions and millions upon millions of them, and they're all publicly available and publicly listed. You're allowed to contact them. So this is the beauty of doing B2B marketing, business to business marketing, opposed to say business to consumer, is we are allowed to call these businesses. We are allowed to email these businesses. We are allowed to send them direct messages and to make offers to them. So I'll show you how to put that together. We'll talk about outbound strategies, how we are actually going to do this using outbound methods, which if you're looking to go from 0 to 1 and do it in the fastest way possible, it's all outbound. Anyone that knows me knows I love content. I think it's amazing. It's like rocket fuel. But I like to think of content as like the gas on the fire. So it's going to accelerate, much like advertising. It's going to accelerate what you already have, but it's not really going to get it going because it's going to take some time. That said, we got to talk about it because once your outbound is working, inbound really just makes everything else that you're doing that much more effective. And this is where you start to scale. So this is where we go from like 6 to 7 figures and move on. But like until we've hit 10K a month, we should be doing outbound and like exclusively outbound, and we can get there very quick. Sound good?
Sounds like a jam-packed day of action items to get on the list and get done by the end of the day.
That's it. All right, my friend. Well, we're diving in. I don't think we need this anymore. We've talked about it enough. So we'll gloss over, but everyone knows it's available. Simple lead lists. How to find and reach your ideal prospects. All right. Number one spot to go. Number one thing to understand. Leads are literally everywhere. What I've done here is I went to Google and I typed in plumber, Dallas, Texas. All of these businesses that you see here are potential leads. They're potential prospects. We can do this with landscaping or roofing or med spas or whatever. We can do it with any of the other 1,000 largest cities in the US. There are hundreds and hundreds of businesses in every single location. This is just like, obviously the top listing is sponsored. The rest are maps. There's more businesses, the button at the bottom. But Google is absolutely one of my favorite places to go because it is free and it is widely available and you'll find all of the contact details you need. Phone number, website, you can go on there. You can read their about page if you want to. You can export everything. It's just, they're there. So anybody that's like, I don't know who to contact. I don't know where to go. I don't have any money. I'm starting from scratch. Go to Google. Full stop. Like no excuses anymore. Next, LinkedIn. Again, I went to LinkedIn. I put in plumbing. Just like that. I now have a list of people with plumbing. And again, we can put in dentists, chiropractors, med spas, jujitsu, gyms, veterinarians, whatever it is. Thousands and thousands of people on here. Some of the larger niches, you're going to find like 130,000 people, 150,000 people of potential contacts that you can reach out to. Third spot, high levels prospecting tool. I love this one. This one used to be the main one for me when we were doing more audits for people. So what we would do is we would go type in, again, plumbers, Dallas, Texas. We'd have a list of all of these different plumbers. Then what we would do is we would just create audits for every single one. So we'd hit like create report, create report, create report, and then we would send it to all of the different plumbers and say, hey, I just made you a free marketing report showing you all these opportunities if you want to take. By the way, if you want to have a quick conversation about what this looks like, more than happy to hop on a call. We did that for a very long time. It was phenomenally effective. In fact, this strategy worked so well that this was one of the first ones that I did pre High Level's existence back in the day. We used to do it with direct mail. So what I would do is I would go to, literally, I'm dating myself a little bit, but like we'd go to the yellow pages, we'd cut out newspaper ads, we'd cut out anything else like that. I'd make a quick video audit, record it, put it on a zip drive, send it to people in the mail, and it would go over absolutely everything that they needed. And we would secure clients left, right, and center with that method, because what we were doing is we're providing value in advance. But again, we go to prospecting, we type it in, we have a large list there. Next, some of these have free trials, some of them are paid, but these are all effective lead generating tools that we still use today. So D7 Lead Finder, Apollo, Instantly, Leads Gorilla, ListKit, Hunter.io. Do I have another one? SalesQL. All of these are going to give you lead lists. Now, the thing is, and where people get confused, and slightly more of an intermediate advanced topic here, is that they're all kind of drawing from the same directory. So sometimes they're scraping Google, sometimes they're scraping other business directories or whatever it is. But like, once you've got a list of a sufficient amount of people, it doesn't really matter where that lead comes from, or it doesn't matter how you go about and get it, because it's still the same 100 plumbers in Dallas or 100 chiropractors in Los Angeles or whatever it is. So, I mean, really, it's kind of like pick your poison, pick the one that you like, start with Google, get it free, and then go through here and just put in your niche and get all the leads that you could ever want. Now, this is an image of the simple Google Sheet that I've used for years, that I use with clients and students, that we've used to send millions at this point, millions and millions of emails and calls. And we get the business name, we get the city, the state, first name, last name, email, phone, and website. You can build these yourself. You can go to Upwork or Fiverr or any other freelancing place. You can also hire people to build you lead lists. This is a very common thing in B2B marketing. If you've been doing it for any length of time, this is going to be repetitive. Like, yes, Adam, I already know. We've already heard all this before. Everyone that's been doing marketing for any kind of B2B knows about lead lists, how important they are, how they're everywhere. So I like to use these, and I like to categorize them like this. And the reason is because when we start doing our outreach, I'm now able to personalize that email using these like liquid text modifiers. So it's like, we've all seen it. Everyone's been on an email list where they forgot to update it. And it's like, hey, first name, and you see the first name. That's basically what we're doing here. So what I like to do is I like to include as much general personalization as I can to make it look like I've really done my homework. So I can I'll reference the city. I'll reference their first name. Sometimes I'll put their website link in and be like, I was looking over your website over here, and hey, I'm looking for plumbers in Denver, Colorado, and I came across your website or whatever. So again, we're going to look at all kinds of different formulas in that. But yes, this one is really all you need. If you want to go a little bit more advanced, you can start getting LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook. My recommendation, and we'll talk more about this in a bit, is that you kind of pick one platform that you want to do your outreach on. So whether it's direct messages or email or phone, there's pros and cons to all of them. They all work. They all work very, very well. So really just pick your one that you want to start with, and then we can focus in on that. All right. There we go. Business name, city, state, everything. Outbound strategies. Let's talk about how to reach them now. We have a list. Now we've got to go and we've got to put our stuff directly in front of them so that they can take action. So the first thing that I want to introduce you to is something that I call the cold Phil Jones. So I was first introduced to this concept by Phil Jones, which is how you get referrals from existing customers. I thought it was genius. And I was like, I bet we could adapt this for cold email and cold calling and cold DMs and outreach and talking to our network. And turns out it worked, and it worked really, really well. And I'm going to outline the psychology behind it. We don't have to go too deep into it, but I think it's important to understand why we're doing what we're doing so that you can replicate it. Another option, DMs, direct message on social media, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. So this is my recommendation to do this next. So if you're just getting started, let's recap real quick. Go to Google, and build your lead list that way. Once you've done it there, then we can possibly look at, say, LinkedIn or high levels prospecting. And once you've done that, then you can move on to some of the other tools like D7 Lead Finder, Apollo, Leads Gorilla, et cetera, et cetera. Once you have your lead list and you've put it in that little formula, in that little spreadsheet, now we're going to start doing outreach. We start with the cold Phil Jones, and I'll walk you through how to do this in a second. Then once we've done all those, then we can start looking at DMs or where we're going to send these messages. From there, now we can start looking at cold email. Cold email is probably my favorite tool of all, but it is not without a little bit more complication. So there's a bit of tech involved, and we'll talk about that as well, which is why I think it's the best tool. It is most scalable. The beauty of cold email is that it scales linearly, perfectly linearly. So nerdy marketing talk here for a second, but it's like if you're using Facebook ads, as your spend goes up, your profitability goes down. Because what ends up happening is they end up sort of like, imagine a tree for a second, and they're drawing all the low-hanging fruit, and then the next level up costs a little bit more, and the next level up costs a little bit more, and the next level up costs a little bit more. So you can't scale and spend like $1 a lead forever. Eventually that lead is going to cost $2, then $5, then $10, whatever. Cold email doesn't work that way. If you send 1,000 emails and get one client, you can send 2,000 and get two. You can send 3,000 and get three. You can send 5,000 and get five. You can send 100,000 and get whatever it is. So this is the reason that like once we crack that code on the cold email that we we can scale to the moon. We just need bigger lead lists. Cold calling. If you're short on time, money, and willing to do whatever it takes, there is no faster way to get in front of businesses than cold calling. Admittedly, this is not fun. It's not sexy. Most people are not willing to do this. I used to have the opinion of like, are you really committed? Are you really willing to do whatever it takes? And then I realized that people just so hate cold calling that I'm willing to give you like half of a pass on this one. So you don't have to do cold calling by any stretch of the imagination. I haven't done it in quite some time. I do it once in a while, almost just to sort of remind myself of how, oh man, I really don't enjoy doing this, but it so works. And like once you start making those calls and you just get comfortable burning through them and you realize that they're not rejecting you because they don't even know you. So it's an odd thought to have someone say like, I don't like you. It's like, well, you don't even know me. You might not like what I'm doing. You might have just had a fight with your wife or your dog messed something up or chewed your furniture. What, like stuff happens. But if you want to get there as quick as possible, dial in for dollars. All right, Trojan Horse strategy, my secret little strategy. This is, again, for anybody that hates selling, they're scared of doing any of this, we're going to talk about this. It's a nice, easy way to get in there. All right, the Phil Jones. The cold Phil Jones. This is the line. You wouldn't happen to know just one person, someone who, just like you, would benefit from whatever specific benefit you offer, would you? That's the offer. We're going to break this down. But if you want to, I think I might put this at the end as well, but if you want to screenshot this one, this is it. You can also check out Phil Jones. This is typically done with referrals. I love it for cold. Here's why. The power of a simple ask. We start with a challenge. You wouldn't happen to know. Rather than, hey, this or that, or I'm looking for, or saying it. When you ask someone a question, this is sort of a marketing 101 psychology hack. When you ask someone a question, their brain can't help but to answer. For example, like, do you prefer red or blue? Like your brain answers. It doesn't want to. I've just hijacked your brain. And your brain's going to come up with an answer. Even if you're like, I'm not answering that, it's still going to do it. So you wouldn't happen to know. Their brain starts thinking. Curiosity, subtle challenge, motivates people to respond. Keep it simple, just one person. This to me is massive. So many people, when they're reaching out to their network, again, actually, let me preface this. This is for your network. So if you look through your phone and you look through your contacts and all of the people that you've messaged or texted or anything like that, you can send them this. You look through your emails, anybody you've ever had a communication with, you can send them that. Friends on Facebook, followers on Instagram, you can send this to everybody that you possibly know, that you've been vaguely acquainted with. And the reason is because we're not selling them anything. We're simply asking a question of if they know someone. And in fact, we could even preface it with saying, hey, I know this probably isn't for you, but you wouldn't happen to know. And you'd be surprised every time I've done that. Like, let's say I'm asking a plumber and I'm doing plumber marketing. I can go to a plumber and I can say, hey, this probably isn't for you, but do you know any plumbers that are actually looking for this, and they're like, well, actually that is me. So again, we can make it work. Just one person is important. When we ask them for just one person, they can think of one. When we ask them for 3 or 4, it becomes too easy to, first of all, get confused. And second of all, that's too big an ask. They're not going to go through their list and think of like 5 people that they can help you out with, but they might be able to think of one. Small, specific, easy. Next, personal and relevant. Someone who, just like you, this is a compliment. So what we're looking for is we're looking for someone awesome, someone just like you, really. So you want to think of like, who are your ideal people? And then we say this. Again, this makes it easier as well, because now they're thinking of someone similar to themselves. And again, if you're looking for, this is why this works so well for referrals, and that is like, rich people typically hang out with other rich people. Plumbers typically know other plumbers. People that are good people typically know other good people. So it makes it easy to find those. So you may not want to ask this for someone that you absolutely despise, but regardless, someone who, just like you, and would benefit from. This is the positive experience or value that they've received. This is why it's typically a referral, but we instead can say would benefit from whatever service you offer. Would benefit from like an automated way to get more customers for their business. Would benefit from an automated follow-up system that automatically answered the phone after hours. Would benefit from more 5-star reviews on Google for free. So you wouldn't happen to know just one person, someone who just like you would benefit from more 5-star reviews on Google for absolutely free. A phone follow-up system, yada, yada, yada. Everything we've just said. Okay, that's the cold Phil Jones. Start with your network. Go through your phone, go through your emails, go through your social media, start reaching out to people. If you do nothing else but that, you will get clients. There are clients hiding in your phone and in your email. I did that when I first started and got clients that way beyond easier than probably anything else that I've done, but it does require reaching out to them. The other benefit of that approach, by the way, is that it now lets your network know what you do. So a bit of a not so fun story. I made a mistake once many years ago when I was first starting, and I went live on my personal Facebook profile instead of my business Facebook profile. And a lot of my friends and colleagues and people that I knew offhand, they started showing up, and I was like, that's great. Okay, well, what are you guys doing here? And none of them knew that I did marketing. And I was like, wow, I've done a really bad job of letting people know what I'm doing. How are they going to help me if they don't even know what I'm doing? How are they ever going to think of someone that could benefit if they've just learned that this is something that I'm doing? So make sure that you let your friends and family know what you're doing. This is like, we're providing valuable services here and helping people. All right, direct message. DMs are free, and most businesses have some kind of social profile. So when we're talking about sending direct messages through Instagram and Facebook and that, great place to start, because you already have access to everything that you need. So again, send them via Instagram, Facebook, or LinkedIn. Take a look at your niche and where they're likely to be active. If you don't know, then use all 3 until you sort of unlock that magical code of where they're going to be and where you're going to be able to reach them. Also, do not start by sending 100 a day. This is the one exception where I actually need to curb your enthusiasm. So if you're motivated and dedicated and ready to rock and roll, you can make 100 cold calls a day. You can make 200 cold calls a day. You can start ramping up cold email slowly. Do not send it through your personal Gmail. We'll talk about that in a second. But like, you can ramp that up, but you cannot send 100 Instagram, Facebook messages a day, or they're just going to block you. So this is a strategy that you actually do need to start today, because we want to send 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Start to drip them out a little bit. 5, 10 a day. Get them going. Ramp up slowly. Get some responses. Have some conversations. Train the algorithm, train the social networks that you're here to engage in like genuine conversations. Next, optimize your profile so it's clear what you do and who you do it for. If you remember our magic pill from yesterday, very important, so that when someone goes to check you out, which they will, it's not a picture of you in like a bathing suit on some random beach doing some random thing. That is not going to help your business. It doesn't have to be like overly corporate with a suit and a tie and a high five and a thumbs up or anything like that, but it should be clear. Plumber marketing, landscaping, helping this, doing that, providing these services. Also do a quick profile audit as well and just take a look through old things. I mean, 2024, it's going into 2025. Weird that I even have to say this, but sometimes when I look at people's profiles, I was like, I don't think you want that image on there, man. Like, we should probably take that thing down. So do a quick cleanup. Now, this is true for basically any kind of outreach whatsoever. The more you can personalize your outreach message, the better it's going to perform. So if you send a generic message that's like, I'll help you get 100 new customers a day, it's going to get ignored. That's it. And I see this all the time. Someone will start doing cold outreach. They'll do DMs. They'll do whatever. They'll be like, I sent 1,000 and literally nobody wrote back. And I'll be like, what'd you say? It was like, do you want more customers? I can help you get more customers. What about this? What about that? I was like, no, it literally looks like spam. So you've got to find a way to personalize it somehow. And again, this is why I like the lead list, because now when I've got that template, I was like, okay, well, I know their city. I can check out their website. I know their name. So I can be like, hey, JB, Adam here. Look, not sure if this is for you, but just saw your profile. Have a couple ideas on helping you get more XYZ. Cool if I send it over? Something like that. Again, I've got samples that I'm going to show you exactly the ones that work really well, but that's going to work better than some random generic question. All right, DM script 1, speaking of. Hey, JB, Adam here. Was just checking out your profile. Great something, by the way. Liked your post on this, saw this thing, great headline, cool image, saw you had a trip to there, whatever it was. Hey, saw something I thought might help and recorded a super short video for you. Want me to send it over? That's it. Copy paste all day, every day. Notice the line breaks. We don't send this all in like one line of text. We send a line, we hit enter, we send a line, we hit return, we send a line, we hit return. This breaks it up and it just makes it, we've watched our conversion rates double just by like sort of separating it out rather than sending like that giant wall of text. So again, we're trying to keep it as casual as possible. Shorter is better than longer. If you can find a way to tighten this up even more, by all means, go for it. Script number 2. Hey, JB, Adam here. I was checking out plumbers in Denver, came across your page, got some great reviews, by the way, shows you have an amazing business. I found something that I think could help you get more reviews on Google, automate some phone calls, do this other thing that we do. I recorded a short video on it. Want me to send it over? Now, what we found is that these offerings of sending over a short video typically perform highest for most people most of the time. This does not mean this is gospel and you have to follow it exactly. If you find something else, by all means, test it and use it. We've put together different kinds of systems proof. We've put together free calls. We've put together quick chats, PDFs, cheat sheets, courses, training. Everything works for different kinds of niches and that, but this one tends to work best for most people most of the time. So start here. You do not need to record the video until they respond. That's the other question that always comes up. Do I really have to go and record all these videos prior to doing it? No. I found something, I recorded a short video, want me to send it over? They say, yeah, send it over, then record the video. That's it. DM script 3. Hey, first name, your name here. I'm looking for this one's a little bit more ballsy. I'm looking for an accountant partner in Denver to send 30 new leads in January. Would you be a good fit? Let me go back. That's it. Like I said, a little bit more out there, but pretty effective. I was having a conversation actually with a client yesterday, and we were talking about her niche and what was going on. And what she realized very quickly when trying to find a new niche is that the niche she was looking to serve did not need more business and didn't want it. So it made everything that we said after that a complete moot point. So her opening line quickly changed to, hey, do you have any availability or capacity to take on new clients next month? And most people said no. So we're like, then it doesn't matter what we say. They do not want business. Let's pivot. Let's change. Let's adjust. So we adjusted the niche just with a tiny tweak and everything will be good going forward. So I like this one.
Hey, Adam, question for you. When it comes to, there's a lot of sales talk here. There's a lot of sales talk. There's a lot of sales strategy.
Yeah.
And we're talking about the ultimate guide to start a business using AI. Could you just kind of unpack for someone that maybe feeling a little overwhelmed around this sales process? And, I didn't realize there was so much sales involved.
Yeah.
How do you start to divvy this up or start to like gain momentum?
Yeah. Oh, excellent question. So good news, bad news, I think. The good news is that the AI part of the business, the services that we provide, the actual fulfillment and delivery of that is largely automated and taken care of, which is arguably the part that a lot of people have trouble with. They're like, well, how am I going to get results? How am I actually going to do all these things? I don't know marketing. I'm brand new to this. How am I going to do this? And we have AI and we have automation. We have software that handles all of that. So that takes care of that one. So that's the good news. The bad news is, well, how are you going to get clients? And if you have no clients and if you have no customers, it doesn't matter. You could have the best business in the world, the best service, the best product. But if no one knows you exist and nobody is going to buy from you, you're in the exact same position, probably worse. You don't really have a business, you just have a hobby. You kind of mess around with AI a little bit and you might be able to help people, but the money is made in the actual acquisition of customers and clients. In fact, we talk about this all the time with any agency owner. It's like if you're really looking to make, again, it depends what you want to do. If you want to have some fun with AI and play around and not make any money, absolutely go for it. It's tons of fun. It's very cool. If you want to make money and change your life, the most valuable skill that exists is customer acquisition. The ability to go out there and make customers. Because not only can you do this for clients who will happily pay you a premium if you can actually deliver, but you can do this for yourself. You can do this for any new venture that you want to start. You can do this forever. You basically have, my buddy calls it never go hungry. So it's like you have this meal ticket prepared where you now have a skill that you're able to go out there and just like make money on demand. Now, is it a little bit overwhelming and is there a lot to learn? Kind of, but I think also a lot of the stuff that we're doing here is very copy and paste. So it's like, this will get you to a very comfortable financial level before you have to learn anything else, before you have to read a book on sales or do anything else like that. Like you can use these formulas and copy and paste and plug and play. Like we've sent countless thousands of these things to sort of get you the absolute very best, highest converting scripts that we have. And they just work. So yeah, I mean, it's, bad news, I think, is like a reality check of what it takes to have a business and what the real part of that business is. And if you look at any of the best businesses in the world, whether we're talking about plumbers or accountants or lawyers or whatever it is, the ones that make the most money are the ones that get the most clients. Shocker, right? The businesses that make the most money are the ones that make the most sales. So it makes sense to focus and prioritize on the thing that's going to get you the most amount of money. We talked about this, I can't remember if it was day 1 or day 2, where I was like, what is the single thing that I want people to take away here? And if I could give them like one superpower, and it was to have conversations. Like the more conversations you have, the more money you're going to make, full stop, period. Quit the training. Like that's it. You need to have conversations. So all of this is designed to initiate conversations. Again, I could look back over my own career. I can tell you exactly when I made the least amount of money was when I was focused on everything but conversations. And when I made the most amount of money is when my mindset changed. And I was like, I just have to talk to more people about this. And of course, we can find the modality that works for you. You don't have to cold call everyone. You don't have to show up at their door. You can send DMs. You can send emails. You can reach out to your network. You can create inbound content like we'll talk about later if you want to take a slower path. Like there are options for you there, but none of them sort of forego the ability or the superpower of having that conversation.
So what you're going over now is a lot of the outbound. For those that want to do ads, they want to build a personal brand. Could you just touch on the advantage of that?
Yeah. So there are two different things, ads and personal brand. So ads, for anybody that wants to do ads. So I've spent over 70 million on Facebook ads. So we've run a lot of ads. We continue to run ads. Ads are phenomenal. Ads, much like inbound versus outbound, ads are an accelerator, not an initiator. So what ads do is they take something that is already working and they make it better, or they take something that is not working and they make it fail faster. Because what ads do is they take your offer, this thing that you're looking at right now, and they put it in front of a ton of people. And if a ton of people want it, then you make a lot more money. But if a ton of people don't want it, which is typically the case when you first start running ads, you're paying to test, to do all these things. So my advice for most new businesses, most new agencies is we don't even look at ads until they're doing 20K a month or more. Like it doesn't make sense, because if you have an offer that isn't converting organically, there's no point in throwing money at it. The only exception is if you literally had, I don't know, a 7-figure salary and you've got some money to burn, you want to test, and you're just like, I'm happy to blow 20 grand a month on ads and we'll just see what works. But if that's not the case, which it isn't for 99.9% of people, yeah, we won't even look at ads until we've hit 20K a month in revenue. Personal brand, on the other hand, will still do it organically. In fact, my personal brand probably being the best example, we've tried to grow it in the past with ads, and it just never makes sense compared to what the damage that we can do with organic. Like, not even close. The amount of leads and traffic that we get organically would cost us, I don't know, if we conservatively said like $5 a lead, 5 to 10 grand a day in like ad spend we would need to do, like even with low CPMs. It just doesn't make sense. And again, why would you, unless you're testing, why would you spend money on something that hasn't been proven already? Like the way that I spend on ads is on proven winners, or we're comfortable eating a few losses, which I'm not.
Appreciate that, because there are some questions around, is the only way to do outbound. There's definitely options. The overall goal is to tie in your offer to drive traffic.
Mm-hmm.
And what you've kind of shared here are just some different ways to drive that traffic.
That's it. We need traffic, and traffic, fancy marketer talk, for clicks, which lead to conversations. And we can do that in a number of different ways, but these are the most cost-effective ways to do it. Reason being, you can run an ad. Let's use like a Facebook lead ad, for example. We can put an ad out in front of people, and let's say it's a really, really good ad, and we've dialed our targeting in. Let's not even talk about LinkedIn ads because they're just still prohibitively expensive. But like, let's talk about a Facebook ad. And for some way, we've managed to dial our target, we've dialed our message, we've dialed everything in. We're still going to be looking at like, say, $5 a lead. Then we're going to have to work them through some kind of nurture process to get them to actually book an appointment. We're going to be having conversations. Now, typically in like the internet marketing online space, the prices vary, but we're looking at like $100 to $300 for a phone call. Okay, so now we're up to like $100 to $300 for a phone call. If we're brand new in sales, we've never done this before, we expect to close at around 25%, which means that our cost of acquisition for a client now, let's say 300 for easy math, 3 times 4 is $1,200. So now I've spent $1,200 to buy a client. That client better be worth $1,500, $2,000, $2,500, and I better know how long they're going to stick around for, or I'm in a very uncomfortable position right away. So typically what we see is someone will be like, I'm going to run ads. I'm not doing any of this nonsense. And they start running something like $5 a day. And then they get no leads because it's $5 a day and it costs $5 a lead. And we need at least 3 to 5 conversions a day in order to optimize the algorithm. We're getting a bit technical, but that's all right. They won't get any leads. Ads don't work. I was like, nope, ads work fine. We had an insufficient budget. We had a terrible offer. We didn't have an optimized campaign. So why don't instead we send a DM, which is free, and we can send 100 of them over a period of days, and we can test our messages, and we can try it on different platforms. And this is free. Again, we got to really hammer that point home. And then we can have conversations, and then we can imagine, like, every time I have a sales conversation with someone, I'm saving $300 by doing it. And then of course, once we've figured out, okay, this DM really works. People love this offer. They love this thing. Now I can take it to cold email. And for only a couple $100, I can set up an entire cold email infrastructure, and I can start sending hundreds, if not thousands, of cold emails. Still a fraction of the cost of Facebook ads. If you look at any of us in the space that are doing $1 million a year and more, very few of us are still running paid ads as like our main traffic generation for any of our agencies in that. Some still, but like still not compared to organic is beating pretty much everyone, followed by some kind of cold outreach with cold email. Simply because the cost of acquisition, customer acquisition cost is just so much higher now than it was. I still love them. I still think they're great, but they're a supplement. They're not the main thing.
Yeah. So for someone that is basically like, I just want to get to my first customer.
Yeah.
And they were part of let's say coaching with you. Do they have their offer dialed in?
Yeah.
What's the timeline, and what would be the best recommendation that you would give to get your first customer?
Yeah, easy. We said it already. We'll say it again though. We go to Google. Actually, we start with our network. So look through your phone, look through your emails, look through your network, send the cold Phil Jones to them. Hey, you wouldn't happen to know just one person who just like you is looking for this kind of thing, would you? Then we follow up when they don't respond, because they won't, because they're busy. It's not because they don't love you. They're busy. So we follow up. Then because they're our friends and our family, we can follow up again. Hey, just wanted to check in on this. Just want to make sure you got it. While that's happening in the background, you're going to Google and you're typing in your niche, and you're starting to type in you can Google top 1,000 cities in the US, go through it alphabetically or reverse alphabetically, because everybody goes alphabetically, or start in the middle. And now you're starting to make, on Google, you're going to the maps, and you're now making a list of all of the businesses that show up on the maps. You've got their email, you've got their phone, you've got whatever. If you're ready and hungry and you want it right now, you call them and you give them the offer over the phone. If you're a little more timid of that, you can send them an email, or you can start sending them DMs on their Facebook, on their Instagram, or on their LinkedIn, and you make this exact same offer. If you do that, again, results may vary and whatever it was. I have a very hard time believing we don't have a client in like a day. Like it's just not, it's not feasible to reach out to hundreds of different people and contacts and businesses and have no one need this thing, especially when our offer is like we talked about yesterday. Hey, we're willing to do this for free, or we're starting to do this. Like someone asked me before, we ran this experiment. I should have documented it better. The video didn't turn out as well as we wanted. We're like, just how quick could we take to get to 10 grand? And again, results aren't typical in this and that, but like, oh man, we hit it in like it was like an hour. Like it just wasn't. And again, what did I do? I didn't hit my network because they've kind of been, they know what I do and all that. So that's not fair. I went through and did Google, and I made a list of them, and I called and I emailed and I DM'd them, and I did it personally. I didn't do it with VA. I didn't do whatever it was, and it did not take long. And I set my contract rate was 1,500, but the first 2 weeks were free. And like most people said no. The vast majority say no, not interested, no thanks, hang up, whatever it was. But if you said yes, and we hit it very quickly. Granted, I've got a bit of an unfair advantage, but I like to think that if I was starting, I would just do 10 times more than that. Because if it takes me a couple hours, maybe it'll take you a couple days, but then you've got a sustainable business. So yeah, if you do it, I don't know. We've just seen it work too many times.
So your first customer should at least come from your personal network or someone that's familiar with you. And what are your thoughts on the trial setting up? Like, so we have the AI employee is pretty much free game, unlimited use from now until the end of December.
Yeah.
Right. So if I was a coaching student of yours, or I'm just part of your following here, and I say like, all right, so this thing is free till the end of the month. There's no fees for it. Is that the right offer to go after? Should I give them a trial to get them in the door? And then in that trial, what would you recommend with like pivoting into a paid?
Yeah. So is it the right offer? Maybe. Which is that's such a crappy answer, but it's like, I would try multiple. So I don't just have one offer, because it would be insane for me to like go to 1,000 people, give them this offer, and all of them say no, and be like, I guess I'm done. So it's like, I'm going to go to 20, 30, 40, 50. And the feedback I'm going to get is either that sounds amazing, or I don't understand, or no thanks. And then I'm going to try something else. What about this? What about that? What about reviews? Is that a priority? What about this? What about simple ads? What about following up? What about, I'm going to find the thing that they want, and I'm going to find it very quickly, because I'm just going to ask them. So what do you need? What do you want? Oh, that sounds like this. Would you benefit from this? Would this be helpful? No, it wouldn't. This would be good. Whatever it is. Then once I've got them on a trial, then yeah, absolutely. I was like, fantastic. We're going to do it for 14 days to show you that this is absolutely amazing. And if that works, then we can carry on. Then you have two options. One of which is, if you're really nervous, you can say, we can have a conversation of what that looks like in 14 days. Not my preference. My preference would be like, if that sounds good to you, then after we'll just carry on, and it's only $297 a month, or $97 a month, or $497 a month, or whatever it is. What I like to do is I sort of price anchor that a bit. Then I try to get them some kind of a result. And the second I have that result, that's when I have the conversation with them about carrying on. So I'm going to get them, I'll show them, say we're using AI employee. They're going to get a few calls. They're going to capture a few leads. The second that I see that they've captured some leads, I'm going to follow up and be like, hey, I saw that these came in, these leads came in, we captured all them. How would you like to continue using this moving forward? If so, I'm happy to sign here and we can keep working together. But I want to get them a result. No result, no continuation. So this is why I'm trying to find those fast wins using reputation management. Sign you up. We're going to get you some reviews. The second I get them a few positive 5-star reviews, I'll be like, this is really great. We just started working together, and already we have 3 new 5-star reviews for your business. How would you like to keep this going so we can get even more? And then it becomes a really easy yes for them.
With the reputation, with the AI employee, even if we did 7 days, if we focused on creating, if they're a real business, business, they have a decent sized customer base, they have decent sized incoming calls, 7 days should be able to even do it even faster. So thanks for clarifying that a little bit more in detail. I know we got a few more things of Outbound before we get into what else you recommend. So I'm all ears.
You betcha. Yeah, we'll carry on Outbound, then we're gonna hit Inbound for all that fun influencer stuff. So cold email, infinitely scalable, like we talked about, scales linearly, not otherwise. So as we spend more, as we run more, we get more, unlike ads. You can technically send from your personal email account, but we just don't do this. Like, you're going to get marked as spam. You're going to burn your email. We do have to set up the infrastructure correct. So you need a few things. You need a new domain. So for example, like if my main domain is adamerhart.com, my cold email domain could be like, it can be a subdomain like email.adamerhart.com. I don't like it as much. I need a new one. So like go adamerhart.com or new adamerhart.com or adamerhartmarketing.com, whatever it is. So we do that so we don't risk jeopardizing our domain. We then need an email inbox for each domain. We typically run 2 per domain. Again, we're going to get nerdy and technical for a minute. If this is too much, you can ignore it. But for any intermediate advanced people, this is valuable. 2 emails per domain. You can send 50 emails per day per domain. This includes warm-up emails. So typically what we'll do is we'll send like 30 campaign emails and 20 warm-up emails. And we continue the warm-up emails as we're going because they help with our reputation. We need software to send the cold email. High level works great here. We need time to warm up your new cold email and domain. So 2 weeks minimum. So you can't go buy a new domain and then buy a new inbox and then start blasting out emails because it looks like spam. They're smart enough. So 2 weeks minimum, 30 days is even better. And even then we start to ramp it up slow. You also need a willingness to test a lot of different messages to see what works best for you and your market. So the examples that I've given you, and I think I've got some more for cold email as well, or we can use the DM ones. They're phenomenal. They're really, really good. But they're going to be better if you tweak them and customize them and personalize them for what you've got, especially because I don't know how many people are going to see this training, but if everybody copies and pastes the same things, like you're going to look like everybody else. So we need to make those tweaks. Decent sized lead list. You ideally want to be sending at least 100 a day. And again, I see this with ads when someone runs a $5 a day campaign and then complains it doesn't work. I see it with cold email where they're like, cold email doesn't work. I'm like, well, how many did you send? Like, I sent 20. It's like, okay, well, come back when you've sent 2,000 and then we'll look at the data. So most people, when they're starting with this, is they grossly underestimate the volume that's required to build the size of business that you want. Again, if you want to run it as a side hustle or as a hobby, you can get away with a lot less and you can have some fun. If you want to turn this into something that's really viable and changes your life forever, like we want more volume. All right, good. I do have some examples here. So, hi, first name. Would you be interested in a system that answers missed calls, books appointments, generates leads automatically for free? There are no setup fees or tech issues to deal with. Would it be okay if I sent you a quick video explaining how it works? Your name. We use this, gets a great reply rate to it. So again, we've got an offer, we've got it relevant. It would be ideal if I could find some way to personalize it a little bit more, but I'm not too worried about it because at least I've got their name in there. And then hopefully I'm finding a way to at least personalize it to the niche. So that's voice AI. So AI employee. We can use this one for reputation management. Interested in me setting up a system that gets you 5 to 10 new positive reviews a day for free? I set it up with automations, no setup fees or upfront costs, just an easy way to boost your reviews quickly. Once again, want me to send over a quick video explaining how it works. My least favorite call to action is, are you free Wednesday at 3 p.m. or Friday at 1 p.m. to talk about this? I mean, I know that's like old school sales. No one's free tomorrow at 3 p.m. or Friday at 1 p.m. And if they are free, they don't want to talk to you about this. They want a low barrier offer. They want something to look at it, see that it's real. And then if you make a quick few minute video walking over on Loom and showing them how it works and pulling up their website in the background so it's personalized, yeah, your conversion rates will soar. All right, ACRC. This stands for Automated Customer Reactivation Campaign. Fancy talk for getting a client's customer list and then sending it out in email to try to encourage more bookings. So I'll get you unlimited appointments in 14 days with zero ad spend, or it's free. Interested. This one, phenomenal. And again, the way that we do it is we're not running any ads. We're not doing anything like that. We're simply sending an SMS or an email to their list with some kind of irresistible offer. Hey, I've got a couple $20 vouchers on my desk with your name on it. Do you want one? Hey, we've got free teeth whitening if you want a copy of that. Hey, we're offering free this thing, a water bottle with a membership. We've got a couple here. Do you want a copy? Whatever it is. All right, cold calling. The kidnap house story. I'm not sure if we told this one before. Someone came to my house, kidnapped my family, told me how to make $100,000 in the next 30 days. This is what I do. So not fun, not sexy, not easy. It's not automated. It's not passive, but it's effective and it is deadly profitable. And if you talk to anybody in the in our space, in our world, that have made a lot of money quickly, this is typically what they will do. to get going. The beauty of cold calling is much like cold email is that it does scale linearly. So if you make 1,000 calls and you sign a client, you can make 2,000 calls and sign 2 clients, 3,000 calls, 3 clients. And again, the secret here is a couple secrets. Number 1, stand up when you talk. So you've got a little bit more energy. Number 2, do not take it personally. They don't know you. They don't care, whatever it is. Number 3, volume is king. So it's like we're just dialing, and it's annoying and it's frustrating, and they understand it's annoying and they know that so we try to make it fun. We try to make it light. We tweak our script and we adjust it as much as we can. Perfect. 100 to 200 calls a day. All we want to do is book sales appointments. If we can average 2% close rate, 2 to 4 appointments, 25. So what we're looking for is 0.5 to 1 new client per day. If you make 200 calls a day, which again, isn't fun, I have a hard time believing you don't get a client every 1 to 2 days. Like it just, especially if you're tweaking your script, we should be able to get this up a decent level. All right. Oh, I do have a script in here. The perfect cold call script. Again, tweak and modify, but hey, try to get the owner's name. This is whatever from whatever. How are you? Full disclosure. I used to not like this line, by the way, of admitting that it was a cold call right away. I thought it was a bit cheesy and a bit corny. What I found is that if you want to get a little more advanced and have better openers, by all means, go for it. For beginners, this alleviates a lot of the fear and pressure from it because we're not hiding and we're not doing anything. So I've changed my view on this one. So now for beginners, I like admitting. Full disclosure, this is a cold call. I hate making them. I'm sure you hate receiving them. But you have 30 seconds so I can explain why I called. And what you're going to find is most people are going to be relatively polite. It's actually kind of shocking. Great, no problem, etc. Well, we work with plumbing businesses to help them get more reviews. Is getting more Google reviews a priority for you? If yes, great. We'd love to set up a quick meeting. Again, the purpose of the cold call is to actually book another call. It's not to close on that call. That's what a lot of people get wrong. They think I'm going to do it all in like 30 seconds. No, you're not. You don't want to. We're just going to book another time because then when we have another call, they're going to approach it from a different state of mind as well, because it's no longer a cold call. They've actually are interested in it. And now it's an appointment. So again, now we can start talking about times. If they say, no, I'm not interested, or no, I don't need more reviews. This is the response that I like. Interesting. Don't usually hear that. Most people want more reviews. Hey, I'd love to set up a meeting so we can talk about what you do need, etc. So again, what we're trying to do here is we're trying to be not jerks, but we're trying to be hard to get off the phone because we care and we want to help them. So if they're like, no, I don't want more Google reviews. I'm like, no kidding. That's cool. I don't think I've heard that in a long time. Like most people want more reviews. What are you working on right now? Or what is important to the business or whatever it was? And sometimes they'll answer, well, I don't care about Google reviews, but like our rankings are terrible. I'm like, oh, no way. Tell me about that. Like, are you on first page, second page, third page? And then you can have a conversation. And then that can lead into something else. All right, Trojan Horse. We're going to go through this one quickly because we have inbound stuff to get to. For all my friends that are still scared, and you don't want to do calls, and you don't want to do emails, and you don't want to do direct messages, first of all, we got to push you over to that committed side. But if we're just not there yet, we can do this. We're going to use this one. We're going to reach out and invite potential guests, clients to be a guest on your podcast. Now, objection. I don't have a podcast. What are you talking about? We're going to start one, and it's not going to be a good one, but that's not the point. We are going to invite people on the podcast. We're going to start a quote unquote podcast because the barrier to start a podcast is 0. You can use Zoom like we're doing right now. You can use earbuds or a cheap microphone or whatever it is, and you can have a conversation. You can put that video on YouTube, which by the way, now you have content, or you can get fancy and go all out. The goal here is not to create an award-winning podcast. The goal is, I should have highlighted conversations. There's a recurring theme, I think, in this whole 3-day workshop. The goal is to have conversations with your ideal clients. We want to learn about the problems. Then we want to, after we've finished having our podcast, we want to stop recording. Then we want to have a follow-up conversation. And we want to see, it was like, hey, during the podcast, you mentioned that like, I don't know, leads have been slow to come in and you were talking about this. Like, if you want, I'm happy to have another chat with you about that. I'm tied up right now. I'm sure you are as well, but I've got some ideas that would be happy to share that are working for other clients. And what would it be? 4 out of 5 times, I'd say people are like, yeah, that sounds amazing. I'd love to have another conversation. This is basically a free strategy session, a sales call. And then you're going to get to go into more depth. You've just spent half an hour, 45 minutes talking to them. You've established trust. You're no longer just a faceless marketer. Podcast invitation alternatives. If you don't want to do a podcast, hey, I'm writing a book. Do you mind if I interview you? I'm working on a white paper, research paper, article. I'm doing this thing. Do you mind if I get a quote from you? There's a lot of ways to flatter someone and to get their opinion and their ideas and to have a conversation with someone. Essentially, if you can find the right angle, you can typically get a hold of most people in the world. Even famous people, you can find ways to sort of get through and have conversations with them. So the average small business owner, this to them is often seen as quite a compliment. And then they get to tell their friends, yeah, I was on a podcast. I got invited to do this thing. Rarely do they're like, well, how many subscribers or how many this? It's a fun, interesting thing. And then they also get a piece of marketing collateral that they can use for their marketing as well, talking about them, talking about their business. All right, here's the email invite. This is going to be a doozy. So what we'll do is we'll either make sure that everyone has a copy of that one or you can screenshot it. This is a long one, unlike the typical cold email, because it is more content. We're trying to boost a bit more morale. Again, you can tighten it up if you'd like to. I found this one works really well though.
What I'm going to do here, and Adam, I'm going to copy this one onto the resources drive.
Awesome.
So that way it's right under the objections.
Perfect. Sounds wicked. Okay. Inbound. Are we ready? Should we just roll right in?
Let's do it.
Okay. Inbound strategies. What do we do now? So I know we were talking about how to get your first client. My recommendation is that you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 clients before we look at inbound strategies. And the reason is because everything that I'm about to tell you can be a beautiful distraction. You can spend a lot of time researching content and writing content and recording content and editing it and uploading it to an audience of few. It is a fantastic long-term strategy. It is incredibly valuable for a personal brand. Happy to answer any questions about it. I'm sure JB we can field some from the chat. It's certainly the area that I'm most excited about and I think is the most fun, but that's typically a sign that it's not going to make you the most money. It's almost like the more fun something is, the less it's going to make. And the more painful it is, the more money you're going to make, at least until you find a way to make it fun and interesting. So outreach, short-term money, inbound marketing, long-term money. Inbound strategies, social media, Facebook, Instagram. We're going to go through all these in a little more detail, I believe. Website, blog, podcast, ads, and we'll go back. Good. So these are the platforms that we find are working best for, again, most people most of the time. So Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, probably in that order. There's certain power players right now that are just like dominating everything else, YouTube being the main one. However, with YouTube, there is that obvious objection and barrier to entry of like having to record and edit and do all this stuff with video. So there's a learning curve there. Now, the payoff is higher. So again, Business 101, supply and demand, effort versus reward. The harder something is, typically the better it's going to reward you for. And maybe I'm a bit of a glutton for punishment, but over my career, I think one of my secret advantages has been like, what's the hardest thing to do? Because if I do that, nobody else is going to do that because it's just not any fun. So I liked YouTube. I liked the effort that went into it. I liked how we could learn it and we could make a bunch of videos on it. Whereas like making an Instagram post or a Facebook thing or a tweet for anything, like relatively simple, but then we don't typically get the traction unless we have a lot of them or very well thought out or a large following. So in this order, website, a blog still absolutely works. If you're going to write a blog, please make it a video as well. Like, yes, make the blog, but then find some way to turn it into some kind of video content. Even if you're reading it for a camera or using a teleprompter or turning it into some kind of other video or turning it into short form videos, simply because we get so much more reach with social media, with the algorithms than we do with like SEO and blog content and that. Podcast is absolutely phenomenal, but this is like for all my marketers out there, think of our funnels are like top of funnel, middle of funnel, bottom of funnel. This is middle funnel, bottom funnel stuff. So it takes someone that like already knows, likes, and trusts you and makes them love you. It also has terrible discovery. So it's really hard to like launch a new podcast and get discovered. So if you have a large email list, a large social media following, Absolutely. Start a podcast, talk about your podcast, do all that. If you have none of those, don't start with a podcast. They just they don't get found. We need content on all these other platforms to drive to it. Ads. We talked about this. Technically outbound, but we can double dip a bit here. What I like with ads, if I like ads at all, again, let's be above 20K a month. If you have a really, really good piece of content that's blowing up organically, I typically won't quote unquote boost it or put money behind it, but I will re-record it as an ad. So I know now that this hook, this message, this style, this resonates with people because it's proven itself organically. And now I can sort of go out there and accelerate that even more. All right, social media. These are the ones I want you to focus on. Back up. Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube. TikTok is neat. I think our case study yesterday where I showed that post, that grew another 100,000 last night, 150,000 or something. It's still just blowing up. But like, you can't predict that and you don't know when it's going to happen or if it's going to happen. So I think the algorithm is still a little bit, I don't want to say fickle, but like very slot machine like. Whereas these other platforms are significantly easier to reach the kind of audiences that we want to. So if you're in like home construction, think plumbing, roofing, contractors, like you can probably reach them on Facebook. Actually, better yet, you're going to reach them on the phone because they're going to be in the field and have their phone with them. But another story. If you're in anything like med spas or beauty or nail salons or clothing or e-com or things like that, Instagram. Like we just reach them there. Food, fitness, Instagram. If they're strictly B2B, like accounting, lawyers, anything like really corporate, LinkedIn, still a phenomenal tool. And then for kind of like everything, YouTube, but YouTube obviously does have that barrier to entry of having to go script a video, record a video, edit a video, upload a video. I'd be remiss if I didn't say like YouTube has been the biggest game changer, obviously, in my life. And with pretty much any client that I work with, when we first start, there's always this hesitancy to start YouTube and be like, oh, I don't know. It seems like a lot. And then they do phenomenal. And they're like, why didn't I do this before? So yeah, it's a bit painful, but it's such a powerful tool, like just insane. We can talk more about that later if we want. So find the channels your ideal clients are present and active on, and then go there and ignore everything else. I don't care who tells you that TikTok is the next big thing or Blue Sky or Threads. I don't know if anyone's still using Threads. It doesn't matter what people say. It matters where your ideal clients are present and active. Otherwise, you're screaming into the void, yelling into the wasteland. You're creating all this content on platforms where nobody is going to be able to see you or buy from you. Quality comes from quantity. People always ask this. Should I go for more or should I go from better? Well, the problem when you're first starting is you don't really know what better is yet or what you're capable of doing. So more. We need more. We need more data. We need more touch points. We try to improve it, but we just need a lot of stuff out there so we can figure out and we can train the algorithm and we can show up. Then we get better. Prioritize outreach over content creation. I've said this at the beginning. I got to say it again. This is fun. It's cool. It's sexy to talk about. The money here comes later. Like think years, not months. Whereas when we do outreach, it happens in days and weeks, not months, not years. Topic stories, hooks, CTAs, lead gen posts. Yeah, lead gen posts I think are going to be a good one. We're going to end with that one. So topics that add value. You can talk about educational tips. So on social media, again, think Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube. You can. How to create the perfect Google business profile in 10 minutes. Problem solving posts. Circling to get reviews. Here's how to ask. Get a yes. Why your website isn't bringing leads. How to fix it. All these are decent. Engaging content. Polls. What's your biggest marketing challenge? True or false? Instagram polls. Phenomenal for engagement. Build trust with stories. Very important. What's your first breakthrough? This is the exact thing that I did to land my first paying client. Again, this one needs to come with a caveat because when you're creating content, it is for your ideal client. That is the viewer here. So we do not make content for ourselves and we do not make content for people that are not buyers. So ask yourself, if I had my ideal client sitting in front of me and they were going to look at this, like, would I still make it? And if the answer is no, don't make it. It's a pointless piece of content. Client success, phenomenal. I had a client, actually I've had a few of them, who did their entire Instagram feed was just client success stories. That was it. And they went from like $0 to $1 million a year really quick. And it was just like client success story, clients. Here's Sarah, she did this. Here's Tim, he did that. Here's this, they did this. And that was it, the whole thing. And people just ate it up. Lessons learned. I made these mistakes, you don't have to. Okay, perfect. So those are some stories. Let's talk about hooks. Hooks are important. This is, again, a bit nerdy marketing talk, but this is the thing that gets someone to pay attention. So instead of me starting a story and just like rambling on incoherently, we lead with a hook. This one thing could triple your leads this month. Why common belief is completely wrong. Why, again, we did that today. Why paid ads for a new business are completely wrong. Why you should never run paid ads as a new business. Why you shouldn't run paid ads until you're doing 1 million years or more. We could spin this a million different ways. Think your marketing is working, think again, 5 quick ways to boost sales without spending $1, 5 ways to get free ads, things of this, how to generate leads without creating content, how to scale a business without showing up, etc. Okay, calls to action. DM me for a free checklist to get more leads. Comment below your biggest challenge and I'll help. Oh, by the way, with High Level, my favorite tool that we're using right now, I think I put this in here. I did. Good, right on. Okay, we'll cover that in a second. Comment below your biggest challenge. Need help growing your business? Let's chat. No strings attached. And this little guy, my favorite CTA. Comment some random word below and I'll send you something valuable. And then we go into High Level and we create a comment to lead automation where if someone comments grow, for example, I think the ones on if you want to test out my Instagram, I think it's start. Might be agency as well. You can hit start in a comment on basically any post and you're going to get an auto response to that. Hey, awesome. Check your DMs. Then we're automatically going to send a DM with a link to the checklist, the training, the whatever it is. All of this is automatic. We capture the lead and now we have a conversation and no other work is required. So yeah, this thing has been amazing. I love it. All right. Lead gen post. This thing was amazing. I ran this years ago and I still use it as a case study because I don't know, like it just performed amazing. I put together a 5-day email campaign that shows exactly how to launch any new offer, program, or course. Want a copy? That was it. That was it. You could do this with anything. Hey, I just put together a simple Facebook ad template that shows exactly how to get plumbing clients on Facebook with like $1 a day ad spend. Hey, I just put together a free step-by-step tutorial on how to run Instagram ads for solar roofing companies. I'm happy to send over the exact template we used that generated 384 leads in 24 hours. Want a copy? Whatever it is. We post those. This was not the first one that I posted, by the way. I posted a bunch until I found the hook that worked. You could do this everywhere. When someone starts commenting, you start commenting back and you sort of juice the algorithm a little bit. And shocker, you get leads and you get clients. Other things you can say. I'm on a mission to help whoever your target audience is do this big thing in this little amount of time without pains. Who's with me? Hey, I'm looking to help 7 new massage therapists get 14 clients in the next 30 days without having to run ads or without having to post on social or without having to make calls or without having to whatever. Who's with me? Who's interested in getting 30 new plumbing clients in the next 30 days? I've got something for you. All of these are worth trying and posting. Don't do them all at the same time. Spread them out. Put some other content in there as well so it doesn't look like just a spam feed on your profiles. But like these social media lead gen posts are incredibly valuable. Post them from your personal profile as well. We can have that conversation as well. People think, what about my business profile? Well, if no one's following your business profile, it's not going to matter. And if you want, you can have a separate personal profile for like just friends and family, but for like colleagues, acquaintances, people that you meet at conferences, yeah, they should be seeing this and they're more likely to connect with you on a personal level anyway. Sample post, looking to help 20 plumbers create fully automated system to bring in more leads, customer sales, completely free. Roofers, what if I could show you how to set up a system that brings in leads and books customers automatically without any extra effort from you? Would you be interested? Imagine running your med spa with a system that works 24/7 to book appointments and bring in clients while you focus on providing amazing service. Who wants this set up for free? I'm on a mission to help dentists grow their practices effortlessly by installing a step-by-step automated system to attract new patients. The best part, 100% free, which it is because we're offering them a free trial. I'm helping 10 doggy daycare owners create hands-free marketing system, generate leads and book customers automatically over the next 60 days without spending a dime on advertising. Who's in? Take these, modify them, tweak them for your niche, post them, send them, put them everywhere, initiate those conversations. These are as close to magic as you're going to be able to get for social media. All right. That was it, JB. That was everything. My voice is fried.
Yeah, man. Well, it's we could definitely turn this into a 4-hour masterclass, right? Easily.
There's a lot of stuff. Yeah.
It's a lot of content. It's a lot of overwhelm, a lot of like organization. But if you have the high level voice AI platform, you set it up, you're doing the outreach, you're going to start funneling people in to let them play with it, let them see the result. Kind of this offer goes on its own without any, handling hour by hour. And I
Yeah,
know that
very
you have
much.
mentioned briefly for the reputation management, where, like, again, correct me if I'm wrong here, we want businesses that like are real businesses. And when I say real businesses, I want to just emphasize they're busy businesses. They
Yeah.
are in their main season. Maybe they are, driven by the holiday activity where they're getting an influx of calls. Maybe they have influx of new customer traffic. There are people to ask or share with what's new at the location or the business. Um, but if I work with somebody who's just starting out from scratch and they're looking for lead generation versus business operations with the AI employee or reputation management, I'm going to fail at that point. Is that a fair assumption here?
Yeah. So yes. So here's the bad news, right? Is like if you look at the statistics of the percentage of small businesses that fail, it's astronomical. So what's happening is if you pick a brand new business that has no proof of concept. Again, this is the reason let's look at ads. Why don't I like running ads for a business that's not doing 20K a month? Because we don't have proof of an offer that converts and that does really well. So when we take on a brand new business, which by the way, I'm not totally against if it's a case study or a testimonial, but keep in mind there's a lot of things that are working against you. The first of which, they have no proof of concept yet because they have no customers, which means that what marketing does is it shows people stuff so they can get it if they want it, but we can't make someone want something. So I made this mistake in the past. I took on a client that I should not have taken on. They were selling something that I thought was weird. And I was like, oh, okay, well, I think I can see it. And they put a ton of money into it and it was just a bad product. Like it was something that nobody wanted. It didn't really make sense. They believed in it. So they got me to kind of half believe in it. But like we couldn't give that thing away. Nobody wanted it. And that's the problem with a new business is that they've got no proof. They also don't really understand what's required. They also don't really have the infrastructure set up yet. So we can help them with certain things. We could give them like a website template. That's probably what I would do. I'd go into high level, I'd find their niche, I'd copy paste, I'd customize a few things for them, and I'd sell it to them for $500. Now they have a website template that took me less than a day to build. I made $500. They have a presence. From there, I might be like, okay, let's optimize your Google Plus profile. Google Plus, look at me. Google Business Profile. Put in all the stuff, run the citation, do all that, and get you some reviews, and then I could do that. But yeah, as far as like an AI employee, well, it's not going to help because they have no calls. And as far as like a customer reactivation campaign, well, they have no customers. And that business, statistically speaking, is likely to fail. And they're not going to look at you as a hero for doing everything they can when their business still fails. Like marketing to them is an expense, not an investment. So yes, I don't like, again, when I was first starting, do what you can for sure. Today, I just don't take on new startups. And like if you have the ability to only work with existing businesses with proven demand, yeah, your life is going to be a lot easier.
Yeah, and for those that are just tuning in here, there was 2 days of previous content that has built this foundation up to where we're at now. Jordan below is sharing the resources link that has the snapshot, which is 75 to 80% of what you share with your students and how you get people to start from scratch their business model. And then we have the objections that you need to be prepared for. If you don't mind to stop sharing your
Yeah, yeah.
screen there, I think by now everyone's got this link.
Awesome.
When it comes to like a fitness center, let's say there's a fitness center in town, and let's say somebody in the audience here knows the owner to that fitness center. Let's say it's their buddy, let's say
Yeah,
it's their neighbor, and they know they're busy. And we're
yeah,
about to get into busy season. Let's just take the AI employee as an example
yeah.
for answering the calls. Maybe it's making a payment or hours of operations or membership questions. How would somebody get their foot in the door on that? If it's a referral, if it's like, hey man, call my brother up. He's got a gym. He's busy. Yes, I think he'd be interested in it.
Yeah. So to me, that wouldn't be a referral. That would be like a lead. So a referral would be, I would want to have a conversation with the person that was quote unquote referring and get them to have their brother, friend, gym owner call me, because immediately we have a change in frame. So now no longer am I like a solicitor trying to get business. I'm now a trusted expert that someone is coming to. It doesn't always work that way. Sometimes you got to make the call. That's totally fine. But like if it's a referral, then it's got to be a referral, not just be like, hey, call this random dude. So now let's assume that they call me. I want to try to understand. So I'm asking questions to try to figure out what they need. So tell me about the business. How is it going? Super busy right now. Perfect. Then again, this is where a little bit of niche research comes in. So knowing gyms, I'd be like, I would not want to lead with like, hey, you're missing calls. Here's how to capture them, because they're going to take offense to that. I'm going to say, okay, cool. Well, we've got something here so that if a customer, a potential member calls after hours, or if someone's on the other line, or if someone's just unavailable, now we can capture all of this information, da, 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 da. Do you think that'd be valuable? Because like typically what we see is this, and we get this number of calls, and like, how many calls are you getting a day? And then be like, oh, we don't track it. I'd be like, all right, if you had to guess, 50, 100, whatever it was, and then they could say, I don't know, 100. Like, cool. Well, most businesses miss like 62% of calls because of when they come in. I was like, we could track it to double check, but that means that like we're potentially missing out on like 60 calls. I don't know, say 10% of them convert. That's like 6 members. How much is the gym? So it's 300 lifetime value. So we're looking at like 1,800 in lost revenue. Yeah, and I mean, I'll set it up for free so you can even test it for the first week and prove that it actually works. And if you like it, we can carry on using it. And if not, no worries at all. So yeah, that's how I would run it.
The incoming call portion of this was very important that you clarified. And then, so essentially, if someone's saying, hey, you should call my buddy, you should guide them through and say, hey, why don't you get us on a 3-way text, or why don't you have them give me a call, and then work through that person. Is that what you're
yeah, because then it's a warm lead instead of like some cold random person that they should just call. Because then it's like, again, they just have no reference and no context, and they don't have any of that goodwill associated with the person. So again, you're just some like random person. They might as well have met you on like an airplane or at a conference, or like there's no connection. So yes, I need an introduction. At the very least, I'd be like, a 3-way text would be perfect. Send an email, join us both up in the email, CC, even that's enough. Because then what I can do is like, I can get the email, I can write back to the email, and I can call. So it's like, say, I don't know, you're referring me, and I'll be like, oh, thanks so much, JB. Hey, other person, great to meet you. Yeah, let me send you over a private message, or I'll send you a call, or I'll give you a call later, and we can just have a quick chat and just see if I might be able to help.
Yeah. And I think, that's a numbers game. So now you get 5 of those types of conversations. I take that all day instead of calling 1 or 2 random people after thinking about it for 15, 20 minutes at a time. So could you talk about this procrastination, this, paralysis of, caused by, overanalysis?
Mm.
Could you talk about the mindset of like taking action, that first call, that one call? Because that's what's going to hold us back, I'm assuming here, from either asking for introductions or making our own introduction.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the basics of it are asking yourself like how bad you want it, really. And then being honest with yourself, like, I don't know if I want it that bad. And then knowing that you want it, but you're subconsciously sort of self-sabotaging yourself a little bit, engineering yourself to want it that bad. Like us as humans, again, we talked about this before, where we can make ourselves do anything that we have to do. The problem is that when it comes to, say, following up with a lead or doing this calls, we don't have to, right? We're not literally starving to death. We technically have food in the cupboard. We're going to be okay. Like, we're going to survive. Life's not what we want it to be, and it's not as good. But like, we're going to be okay. So we have to make that very uncomfortable. There's a great tip I learned from Andrew Huberman, actually, where he talked about, like, if you wake up in the morning and you're going to have one of 2 thoughts, one of which is you're going to be motivated and ready to take action and just like crush and slay the day. And the other, the complete opposite. You want to hide under the covers and just die and pretend that no one knows you exist and it's not going to be a good day. What you have to do is different depending on those days. So the days that you're motivated and you're ready to crush, you spend 1 to 3 minutes, and then we'll get a little woo-woo here, but that's backed in science. And you need to visualize your future being the best that it possibly could be. What are your dreams? What are your goals? How much better is your life going to be? Think of all of the good stuff that's going to happen by you taking these actions right now. Really get in there and feel the emotions of it, and then get to work and like go make it happen and crush the day. On the flip side, which is where I think most people end up more often, and certainly me when I've had scary things ahead of me, you feel scared and you don't know what to do and you're lacking motivation. You have to turn that bright image and it gets dark. I want you to imagine what happens 6 months, 12 months from now if nothing changes. What happens if you end up and you're 80 years old and you're looking back on your life and you've done none of the things that you wanted to do? What happens if 5 years down the road, you're still in the job that you absolutely hate, with the boss that you hate, the colleagues that you hate, the commute that you hate, everything? You don't get vacations, you don't get any freedom. Think of all of the very, very bad things and really make it real and be like, this is not acceptable. And then that can propel you into action. And if it's not strong enough, then you spend a few more minutes there. And if that's not strong enough, then you spend a few more minutes there. This is time well spent. Time essentially moving, we call it future pacing, and you're basically bringing the future forward. If you're motivated and you're ready to go, what does this best future look like? And I promise you, the best future that you have ahead of you is better than your wildest dreams. Like, it's just not, we can't imagine something that we haven't experienced. So it's hard to imagine. Like, what does a private jet look like? What does a Rolls Royce feel like? They're absurd concepts, but then people do them. But also the other side, sadly, for 99% of the population, this is the reason it's called the 1%, for 99% of the population, they don't make that real, the pain and the suffering, until it's too late, until they're 80 years old. And then they're just like, man, again, top regret of the dying by Bronnie Ware. It's like, I wish I had the courage to live the life that I wanted, opposed to the life that others expected of me. So it's like, yeah, you gotta make it real. That was my thing. I spent a couple very dark days, mornings, hours. I still do sometimes. If there's a speech that I don't want to give or a conference that I don't want to go to, I'll fast forward my life and I'll be like, what is this saying to my kids that like dad got lazy and didn't want to go? What opportunities am I getting rid of? How many people am I not helping by staying small and just like playing Xbox today or whatever it is? So there's like, we can make it very real, and that can motivate you.
So, there's psychological, there's physical action, there's knowledge, there's practice, there's everything associated with it. Let's fast forward to the end of this training. I take 3 days. Maybe I have to watch day 1 again. I watch day 2 again. I watch day 3. I get the link to the snapshot. I set up my trial with high level. I install the snapshot. What can I expect at that point? Is something like, our customers gonna like, what do
yeah.
We're already at the finish line now. Like, well, now what?
Yeah. The fun is beginning. So now what we've done is we have the world's best ice cream, right? Like, we've done it. We perfected the recipe. It's amazing. But here's the problem. It's the I need a better word for it, but I call it like the anti-field of dreams, in the Kevin Costner of like, build it and they will come. No, never going to happen. They will not come. They don't even know that it's there. So what happens now is we have this perfect ice cream and it's amazing. And now we have to go share it with people. And we have to share it with people that we love and people that we like and people that we know. And we have to share it here, we share it there, and we talk about it, and we make content about it, and we do outreach about it. And the reason, and again, this is the reason I think that I'm so in love with high level, is that I genuinely believe that it's good. So therefore, I don't have to compromise my ethics, my values. I don't have to compromise my integrity, because I have something that is genuinely helpful to a small business owner. I have a way for them to try it for free, so there's no risk. Like, it's this again, the irresistible offer. I'm not selling like cans of Coke or Pepsi and killing people, or a McDonald's franchise or anything like that, which is like, okay, we can have some fun or that, but like overall, it's a net negative. This is a net positive for society and for society and for businesses in general. So it becomes very easy. And I think if you're not sold in on that yet, that would probably be another mindset shift that I would want to do, is I'd be like, really look at it and be like, hey, don't just take my word for it. Don't just take JB's or anybody, all the other 60,000 people that we have, but like look at it. Like, do businesses actually need this? Do businesses need more customers? Do businesses need a way of doing this? And if I were able to offer it to them in a low risk way that got them results, would that help them? And very, like, the evidence is very clear. They need this. Again, they built it and no one's coming. So it's like they bought into the myth as well of like, I'll just start a business and then customers will show up. And then they do that and then they don't. And you know what ends up happening with the like 80% of businesses that fail is like they look bad to their family. They look like they let them all down. They lose a lot of money. It crushes their dreams. It's like, these are not, we're not playing with small stakes here. This is a big thing. And you have an opportunity to go and help them. So I think, I don't know. I used to have to remind myself of that a lot when I was like, oh, I don't want to be a salesperson. It's like, you're not selling, you're serving. You have a solution. In fact, someone told me this once. They said, if you have a solution to a problem that someone has, you have a moral responsibility to share it with them. Like, it's, again, if like, say your buddy came up to you and his neck's bleeding and you just ignored him. Like, he'll be fine. I mean, I got a bandage and like, I know a doctor, but I'm not going to sell you. I don't want to push you into it. You tell me, do you need, like, that's ridiculous. No, you have something that can help people. So you kind of have this responsibility to go and share it with them. Whether they take it or not is their choice. We never push, we never coerce, we never manipulate. We don't have to. They have a problem, we have a solution, we introduce it to them.
Adam, like, time flies, and it's been an amazing time with you. And for those that are looking for extra help in the comments, help.gohighlevel.com is the living and breathing instruction manual to the platform. You have below in the comments is speakwith.us/success. That's your live Zoom. You have below in the comments the trial link that'll be including the snapshot and additional goodies that are part of that as well. Other than that, taking action is what you have left on your end. Adam, it was a pleasure. Thank you for pouring your knowledge, your personality, your point of view on your experience, your students, what others are doing, what you're doing. And we appreciate it. And I think the biggest thing right now for us is to look in the mirror after this training and say, am I interested or am I committed? And if I'm committed, then rewatch day 1 through 3. You could even download it, put it in a transcription tool, ask ChatGPT to give you the most important bullet points. Whatever you need to do to get speed to the knowledge, go right ahead. It's at your fingertips. And High Level will be here to support you, whether you put your credit card in for the trial or you put your credit card in to get billed every month. You have to be the driver. And we got more coming here, man. It's been a fun time. Any closing remarks before we wrap this up?
Yeah, I think you said it all there, JB. First of all, thank you for helping to host and facilitate all this. Thank you, and again, I think a big congrats to everybody here, whether watching live or watching in the replay as well. Like, you've already shown that you are different than the 99%. Like, you've already, by being here now and by sort of like investing this time in your education, like, there's good things ahead. Like, there's good things ahead. You have the tools available to you, and you have all the support. So, I mean, I think closing remarks, I'm really excited. I think I'm super stoked to hear about all of the success stories that we're going to hear. I'm excited about meeting all of you, hopefully next year at the conference, and hearing about your stories or hearing your testimonials about what you've accomplished. I mean, there's really cool, powerful things ahead for those of you that decide to take action and make it happen. So yeah, I'm honored to be even a tiny part of your journey here.
Well, thank you so much to our audience, to our students, to those that are High Level users, those that are considering getting started with High Level. We appreciate your time. We thank you for your engagement, your feedback, your forwardness, and it only makes us better each and every time. Till next time, we got more coming at you. Jump on our YouTube, check out our spotlight sessions, our workshops, and get to doing. If you don't get to doing, nothing's going to happen. We'll see you next time. Take care.
Thanks, everybody.